Truth is, a lot of dudes who are like 45, 50 years old who refuse to date women their age, they don't do so because they prefer young women and how they look. Because let's be real, it's a lot of 40-something-year-old women that'll give these 20-something-year-old girls a run for their money. But it's because of the mental aspect. Like, as a guy gets older, one who wants to play games, by the way, who's like 40-something, 50 years old, he remembers it being easier to play those games whenever he was like 20. Because women in that age group, they're more on hope than they are experience. But experience is the best teacher. So as he gets older and he's trying to date women his age, they're like, no. I've seen your kind before. Like, I've lived the proof that you're here to waste my time, and I ain't going. So now he gonna go out here talking about how he prefers younger women because older women his age are full of baggage and they're bitter. And it's like, nah, they ain't full of baggage and bitter. They have a BS detector, so they're harder to manipulate. And manipulative men don't like that.
What's your age?
19.
29. I like them young.
How does a 10-year age gap relationship work?
Perfect age gap for a relationship.
Why?
Well, see, when they're 19, you can train them. You can train them, you know. They're very young, so, you know, you can influence them and train them to be the perfect woman for you.
Do you feel like that's true?
Yes.
Do you feel like your boyfriend is misogynistic?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with our relationship. It has worked for us. Like, guys my age are not, like, mature enough.
And would guys your age be able to provide the same things that he provide for you right now?
Of course not.
Why go 19 as opposed to 29 or 35?
She's a young sweetheart, you know, what can I say?
Okay, so what's the latest you want to have kids?
5 years to now, like, yes.
Yeah, you know, biology gives women up to about the age of 27. So I say we got about 8 years in it, you know. So
if you meet a girl who's 30 or 40, she's going to have loads of baggage, loads of trauma. We don't want to deal with trauma. We want someone with less trauma, so let's go for someone as young as possible. A healthy, emotionally stable 22-year-old is not usually physically attracted to a 45-year-old or even a 40-year-old. A 22-year-old tends to see a 35-year-old as an old man, yeah? But when she starts to blur the line with older men and sexuality, it suggests that there is some childhood trauma potentially regarding her father. Because the reality is, if you had a stable father figure in your home, you wouldn't be able to sexualize a man that looks around the same age as your father. Men who have good relationships with their children as well can't sexualize that kind of woman because they've got children that age, and they know how stupid their children are, and they know how naive their daughters are, and they know how much they would hate it if somebody their age was dating their daughter. So they have a healthy perception of reality. So if that 22-year-old is even dating that 44-year-old, you're thinking, oh, less trauma.
Dating experts predict a surge in age gap relationships in 2024 because apparently we're all just out here trying to spice things up. Bumble, the dating app that's all about swiping for love, claims we'll see a trend towards dating older or younger partners, prioritizing personal growth, emotional openness, self-acceptance. Sure, why not? Age gap relationships, defined by a 10-year difference, or less if you're splitting hairs, are on the rise. A 2011 study found that the number of women shacking up with men 5 or more years younger tripled since the 1970s. Cue terms like cougar and toy boy. In Western countries, 8% of couples have a 10-year or more age gap, and same-sex couples tend to have even larger gaps.
How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
83.
You're very kind. I'm 95.
And yourself? Almost?
89.
What does it feel like to be 95 and 89?
We don't feel our age at all times. We do at certain times. We each have certain issues, but we're lucky to be walking out under the sun on a day like today.
If you look at the 20-somethings of today, is there something you don't like about them?
And I think life is more difficult today for younger people than it was when we were young.
In what sense?
In every sense.
I don't think they're as concerned about tomorrow as we were.
We thought of the future. I don't think they care. They just spend.
If you could go back in time and give advice to your younger self, what advice would you give to him and her?
Try to be as positive as you can, because tomorrow's going to be a better day unless you make it a worse day.
Is there a cherishable item that either of you have that you've kept with you throughout the years?
One or another. One or another.
I love that.
It's really interesting to note that, especially within the States, but just in general, the research actually has depicted that women in their 40s is the most unhappiest age group out there. Think about that. The unhappiest age group in all of the world, predominantly, we're talking about the States right now, is women in their 40s. That's 1 in 4 Americans, which is crazy. That's 25% of the population are women in their 40s. And they're the unhappiest group out there. And it's just absolutely scary and it's appalling. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? And at the end of the day, the number one reason why, well.
But of course, these relationships often face criticism from those who can't fathom love beyond their own narrow expectations. Critics question the authenticity of such connections, as if mutual happiness and consent suddenly stop mattering when there's an age difference. Yet in some cultures, like parts of Africa, age gap relationships are just another day in paradise. Bumble's annual dating trends forecast heralds the rise of Gen Blend relationships. According to a survey of over 26,800 Bumble members, 63% believe age shouldn't matter in dating, and 59% of women are open to dating younger men. Shockingly, 35% of women are even less judgmental about age gap relationships. Psychotherapist Toby Ingham, who wrote Retroactive Jealousy, Making Sense of It, says there's no perfect age gap in relationships, because surprise, surprise, people are more complex than a simple age number. According to a recent global survey by Bumble, involving over 26,800 members, 59% of women are now open to dating younger men. Society's attitudes toward age gap relationships are evolving. Psychotherapist Toby Ingham suggests that our growing emphasis on inclusivity and embracing differences might lead to a shift away from the preference for age-peer partners. While significant age differences used to pose challenges regarding cultural values and interests, these old-fashioned notions are starting to change. Age gap relationships are nothing new in the public eye. Just look at Alec Baldwin, 65, and Hilaria Baldwin, 39, Priyanka Chopra, 41, and Nick Jonas, 31, or Leonardo DiCaprio, 49, and Vittoria Ceretti, 25. And let's not forget his roster of younger flings like Gigi Hadid, Nina Agdal, and Kelly Rohrbach. According to Bumble, 63% of people say age isn't a defining factor in dating, and 35% of women admit they're less judgmental about age gap relationships. Intimacy within marriage can be particularly challenging, especially when it feels like an obligation rather than a desire. The idea of marriage and intimacy can become disillusioning, often feeling transactional rather than emotionally fulfilling. This perception is exacerbated by the notion that marriage, for many, is more of a business arrangement than a union based on love. Feelings of neglect and lack of appreciation can lead to dissatisfaction within the relationship. There's a growing sentiment that men are better off without the constraints of marriage. Unmarried male friends often seem happier than their married counterparts. Meanwhile, older single women can exhibit bitterness and hostility, often manifesting in negative social media posts. This highlights the ongoing tension and dissatisfaction many feel regarding traditional relationship dynamics. Moreover, women may struggle later in life, lacking spousal support when they need medical treatment or rehabilitation. For some, feminism has tainted perceptions of women, leading to distrust and dissatisfaction.
Let's say I'm 10 years older than my girl, right? And I'm 40 and my girl's 30.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
40 and 30. I think, no.
Is it weird? I'm not done. Is it weird?
40 and 30? No.
Okay. But now, if I were 20 and I told you my girl is 10 years younger than me, would that be weird? Like, she would be 10. That would be weird as fuck. Yeah. But it won't be 40, 30. So I think the older we get, there's more.
Sure, there's obviously, because at some point, like, yeah, you become, but like between 20 or even 18 and 30, or 18 and 27, 28, you're just so young, dude. It's not the same thing as if you're like in your 30s.
Look, some Argentinian guy came to my job the other day and he goes, "You want to know what's the right age to date a woman? Divide your age by 2 and add 10.
So I would dating someone, what, 25? I don't think so. I've met some 25-year-olds. Not much in common.
No, maybe not for you.
Societal norms around marriage have shifted, with some women choosing to remain single in hopes of snagging a wealthy partner. This reflects broader changes in cultural expectations and values. Despite cultural and ethnic differences, women share common experiences and expectations. Some may adopt behaviors influenced by societal pressures or cultural norms, like becoming more assertive or striving for financial independence. In conclusion, while societal attitudes towards marriage and gender roles continue to evolve, individuals still face challenges and complexities within relationships. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Support this channel through membership. You can also support through PayPal, link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.